Most people know John David Washington as a leading actor in Hollywood, famous for his roles as Ricky Jarrett in the hit TV show Ballers, or the quick-witted officer Ron Stallworth in Spike Lee's BlacKkKlansman. Along with this popular on-screen work, John David is also known as the son of Denzel Washington, one of the most famous actors of all time. Before he chose to follow in his famous father's footsteps in the acting world, John David pursued another passion: football. Like millions of young Americans, he dreamt of playing in the NFL. But unlike a majority of other dreamers, John David actually had the talent to make this dream a reality. It's not uncommon to hear about celebrity nepo babies riding the coattails of their highly successful parents and coasting through life without having to accomplish anything themselves. But for John David, this couldn't be farther from the truth. Instead, he wanted to prove that he can make a name for himself, and he chose to do that on the football field. In sports, it doesn't matter who your father is, because the only way to truly be successful is to commit to the grind, stay determined, and quite frankly, have some natural talent. John David had the talent, but did he have all the other intangibles required to play at the highest level? The only way to find out was to play, and as the old saying goes, football doesn't build character, it reveals it. Now get set, because this is the story of John David Washington. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel so you're in the know when I make another video like this. But now, let's get into today's story. John David is Denzel Washington's eldest child, but he made it clear early on that he wanted to be his own man, and he found that outlet in football. However, when he first started playing in middle school, he struggled with the physicality of the sport and he would hesitate before contact. So, Denzel stepped in, literally. Acting as his son's personal coach, Denzel would hold a blocking bag in the backyard and run John David through drills until his hesitation eventually disappeared. Football quickly became John David's focus, and thanks to his father's fame, he found himself at Campbell Hall School, an elite private high school in Los Angeles. There, he was surrounded by classmates who were either children of celebrities or they were already young celebrities themselves. Denzel was always supportive of his son and tried his best not to take attention away from him, and at the Campbell Hall School, this was possible since everyone there was used to the Hollywood spotlight. And to prove the level of fame surrounding the school, two of the cheerleaders for the football team were actually Full House megastar twins Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, who played Michelle Tanner in the hit show. Denzel was also good friends with NFL icon Jim Brown, who would regularly attend John David's games. And during his junior year, Denzel filmed the infamous football movie Remember the Titans, so he once even brought the Titans' real-life coach, Herman Boone, to a game. Despite all the Hollywood attention, John David remained dedicated to being the best player he could be. He was quiet and hardworking, and in his senior year, he went off, rushing for just under 2,000 yards and 26 touchdowns. And this performance actually earned him a spot on the All-American team. By his senior year, John David narrowed his college choices to Cal Berkeley, San Jose State, and Grambling State. But his cousin, Ricky, who John David idolized, was currently attending a small, historically black college across the country in Atlanta called Morehouse College. He decided to visit the school and immediately fell in love with the campus and its atmosphere, and although they weren't known for their football program, he surprised everyone and chose to commit to Division II Morehouse College, an HBCU with several famous alumni, such as Samuel L. Jackson, Spike Lee, and most notably, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Determined to carve his own path, John David and a few teammates even made a pact to keep his father's identity a secret, with John David using the alias Mikey when he first stepped on campus. This didn't last long though, and by the first game, everyone knew who his dad was, since Denzel was a regular fixture in the stands to support his son. He saw playing time his freshman year, and by his sophomore season, he was splitting time as a starter, wearing the number 33. In his senior year, now wearing number 1, he flourished into a star, leading the conference with 1,200 rushing yards and scoring 9 TDs. This led to him being named first-team all-conference, and by the end of his college career, he held Morehouse records for career rushing yards with 3,699 and rushing yards in a single game with 242. Playing at a Division II school certainly limited his exposure to pro scouts, but John David's successful Morehouse career did result in some NFL attention. He wasn't invited to the Combine, and he didn't hear his name called in the 2006 NFL Draft, but he did still get a chance to play at the highest level. After graduating, he signed with the St. Louis Rams as an undrafted free agent, and his dream moved even closer to becoming a reality. However, a combination of injuries and limited opportunities in the preseason kept him off the 53-man roster. While John David wasn't on the active roster, the Rams saw potential and signed him to their practice squad, where he remained for the next 2 seasons before heading overseas to play for the Rain Fire in NFL Europe. He played well enough in Europe to earn another NFL tryout with the New Orleans Saints, but he was again unable to land a spot on the final roster. For the time being, John David knew his chances of making an NFL roster were bleak, but instead of admitting defeat, he searched for new ways to continue his pursuit. In 2009, the upstart United Football League gave John David another shot at pro football when he was drafted by the California Redwoods, who later became the Sacramento Mountain Lions. He made an immediate impact in the UFL, and in his first game, he rushed for 128 yards and a touchdown, which earned him UFL Player of the Week honors. Over 4 seasons with Sacramento, John David was surrounded by former and future NFL talent. He shared the field with former Pro Bowl quarterback Dante Culpepper, and he was even coached by current Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel. But when the UFL abruptly folded in 2012, his football journey was once again in doubt. He was able to secure one final chance at the NFL after the New York Giants offered him a private workout. But unfortunately, he tore his Achilles while training prior to the workout, effectively bringing his football career and NFL dreams to an end. While pursuing the NFL, John David suffered numerous concussions, broken bones, and torn ligaments over the years, but he never stopped fighting for his football dream. However, when the time finally came to hang up his cleats for good, he did so without regret. Now that his football days were over, he needed to find something new, and with the last name Washington, he was practically born with the acting gene. So, he decided to shift his focus to the arts, and film sets became his new field of play. While being Denzel's son probably helped to open a few doors, John David was actually a really talented actor, and he quickly proved that he could stand on his own. His breakout role came on HBO's Ballers, where he starred alongside Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Ricky Jarrett, an NFL wide receiver. Now, I haven't found anything to actually prove this, but I do think he was able to take parts of his personal life and football background and blend them into the role. If you remember, his cousin, Ricky, the same name as his character, was the one that helped him pursue his career at Morehouse College. And not only this, but his on-screen character, Ricky Jarrett, played for the Rams at the start of the show, the same team that gave Washington his chance at the NFL in real life. It could all just be a coincidence, but either way, I think that definitely adds a layer of depth to his character on the show that likely went unnoticed by fans. From there, his star only rose. He advanced his career and earned leading roles in Spike Lee's BlacKkKlansman, Christopher Nolan's Tenet, and other highly acclaimed projects like Malcolm and Marie and The Creator. John David Washington grew up in the shadow of one of Hollywood's greatest actors, but through football and acting, he forged a legacy that is uniquely his own. John David Washington may have grown up in the shadow of his legendary father, but through a sense of purpose that was all his own, he managed to escape that shadow and make a name for himself both on the gridiron and in Hollywood. On the field, he left behind records and memories of a relentless competitor who refused to give up on his dream. And on screen, he's become one of the most exciting actors of his generation, continuing to build a career on his own terms. His story isn't just about being Denzel's son. It's about resilience, reinvention, and the pursuit of purpose, whether that be under the bright lights of a stadium or a Hollywood set. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It'll really help me grow the page. But until next time, get set because I'll have another video coming soon.